setting up and using a torque wrench on a Morris 1000. So here's a choice of 3 torque wrenches, and I'm going to start with this 3/8 torque wrench, and that's the socket size at this end. And they're ratchet torque wrenches. They go anti-clockwise and clockwise, just like a normal socket, but you can set the torque on these handles to the foot-poundage or newton meters required on that particular application. So this one's good for confined applications, working in tight areas, and on lighter torque settings. But if you need to torque things down a heavier torque, use these longer handled ones, which is the ones we tend to use when torquing head nuts down. So here we go, and I'm going to hand over to my wife Amber, who's going to show you how to set the torque up and how to use them, and then we'll take them outside and I'll show you what happens when you get a bolt torqued to the right setting.
So I've gone in really close so you can see the torque wrench in detail. So they all have the same components. So you've got the bit where the socket end goes on here, and you can get adapters. So this is a 1/2 inch drive torque wrench, but you can put an adapter on it to make it a 3/8. They'll all have the bit on the back where you can make them go left or right, depending on which way you're turning them. Anti-clockwise or clockwise, I should say. And they've all got a locking nut as well. So what happens is that when you want to adjust the settings, you can undo the locking nut. You can then move the settings where you want them to, and then lock it, and that keeps it in place. You can screw that back up. It keeps it in place so that when you're holding it on the car and working on it, it doesn't change the torque setting. So Morris Minors, the settings are always in the manuals in foot-pounds, but they tend to, on torque wrenches, do them in newton meters or foot-pounds, and 1 foot-pound is 1.35 newton meters. So we use torque wrenches on the cylinder head nuts, and according to the manual, that's 40 foot-pounds. Some people do them to 42, some people even do them to 50, but we do them to 40, and the equivalent in newton meters is 54 newton meters. So that's newton meters on that side. Let me get this one a minute because it's easy to show you on this one. And turn it round, you'll see you've got different things on each side. So here we have the foot-pounds, and you can see on the black bit that it's got 0, and it will go and it will change 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 0. And if you turn it clockwise to the right, it will go up, and if you turn it anti-clockwise, it will go down. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put it on 40 a minute. Okay, so let me go down a bit. So I put it on 30. So that's 30 there. So we've got 32, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. There we go. And let's say I wanted it at 42. I would then go up to there, to the centre mark with the number 2 on it, and so on. So if I wanted to go all the way to 50, go up to there. And then as you'll see, when we go out to the car, what happens is that when you then put the torque wrench on, like you would with a normal wrench, you'll then tighten up the bolt that you've got. And when it gets to that torque, it will make a clicking noise, and you'll know immediately. Now, if you've never used one before, and we did this when we first used it, put it down much lower than you want the torque to be. So let's say you're doing your cylinder head nuts, and you want it at 40 foot-pound. Try it at 20 or 10, and do them up, and see what noise it makes, and get used to the feel of it, and then torque it up higher so you get used to how it feels when you're talking head nuts and talking nuts. Anyway, that's enough of talking nuts, and there you go. Go and have a go.
So here we are out by the car, and I'm going to torque this wheel nut here so you can hear the click on the torque wrench. Now we've only set it to 10 foot-pounds. I don't torque these wheel nuts down anyway because they're old rusty studs, so I don't bother. Let's get that on. Was that it? I think it was. Let's try that again. There.
Yeah.
So that click. Let's go through that again. Let's undo it. That'll do up. You're going to wait for that click. If I stop talking, you might actually hear it. There. That click means it's up to torque. And there we go, using a torque wrench.